All right. Everyone, my name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review, and it is time for part 8 of the question and answer series. Essentially, you ask a question, I answer it. Now, this is a series that I used to do a long time ago, very often. The last time that I did this was roughly 3 years ago, and I actually had a viewer contact me and say, hey, did I miss something? Where's the answers for part 8? Well, I forgot. Plain and simple, I forgot. So 3 years later, it is time to get to the answers. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so to start off, let's see, can we expect more ultralight gear loadouts? Yes, you can. In fact, I have a product from Z-Packs coming up right now, going into review right now. See, maybe you could try to do something ultralight on the cheap. Unfortunately, ultralight and cheap really do not go together, especially if you want ultralight and quality, because you can get ultralight and crap and garbage unless you're wanting to go like very minimalistic and have nothing but a tarp, but that's not what most people want. Let's see, that comes from Mech Outdoors. Gauze Payne wants to know, when you're hiking, do I prefer bottles or hydration packs to carry water? Most of the time, bottles, but there is a time and a place for a hydration bladder. It really depends on the adventure. Let's see, when are you going to have a jamboree at Lone Wolf Mountain? Well, I have one all the time here, but as far as the viewers go, I don't know. Good question. I wish that I had more time. I wish I wasn't so busy. I'm sure that's true with everybody, but I'm doing so much work all the time. I just don't know how to work it in. I really don't. Okay, what is the best way to camp in the rain? If you are camping in the rain and it's going to be a long-term camp out, you need a big tarp. That's the most important piece of gear that you could bring. Of course, you need your tent, but you need a big living area, a place to stay dry, where you can have a fire, you can cook. You need to have a space where you're not stuck inside of that tent. So a big tarp is always appreciated. Dinner Fort Tongue has a question here, and this is actually for Susie and I. Well, Susie's not here at the moment, so I will answer this. Has there been a moment when you felt uneasy or creeped out, but not threatened? There are plenty of times out on the trail, especially when you're by yourself, that you could feel unsettled, especially when you hear something and you don't know what it is, or maybe you do know what it is and it's like a loud howl. I mean, that can be very unsettling, especially when it's close. I spend a lot of time in the outdoors by myself, and with that being the case, I'm oftentimes hearing wolves, coyotes, sticks breaking, coming across bears, and I'm not really threatened by them, but it is something to be cautious about. Unnerved, yes. Threatened, no. That's a great question. What are your thoughts about urban exploration? I love that, by the way. I'll come back to it. Little side question here. Is there any chance of doing some recreational archery? Sure, I love archery. My first bow was a recurve. William says that he does not leave home without his 9mm and 16 of his buddies. I completely understand. You know, I don't know how common it is for people in the city or so to carry and conceal, but here in the country, that's a very common thing. Here in my area, for an example, I think it's like bi-monthly, they have a carry and conceal course at the sheriff's department. The line is a mile long, and there are plenty of people who offer those courses, and they are booked solid. I can't even count how many people I know that carry and conceal. It's very, very common. Marcos wants me to review the Tasmanian Tiger Patrol Pack Vent 32. I will look into it. So Patricia wants to know, what do I do to stay in shape? Especially for hiking, do I go to the gym? I do not go to a gym, but Susan and I work out roughly 5 days a week. Sometimes we take a day off here and there, depending on what we got going on. Life, of course. But in general, I will work out for 30 minutes a day. Sometimes, if I'm especially feeling frisky, I'll work out for an hour. And I do a wide range of workouts. I do strength exercises, I do lift some weights. Every single day, I make sure to do at least 50 push-ups, 50 squats, 50 sit-ups, in addition to whatever workout that I'm doing. Every other day, I like to do some sort of cardio. I like to go out for a run, something to get my heart going, because your working out is more than just lifting weights and having strong muscles. You have to worry about your heart as well. Your cardiovascular health is equally important, especially when it comes to being out on the trail. You want to have a solid core, you want to have a good heart, you want to be able to push through the extremities, because there are times where you're going to be out in an extreme situation. You're going to be hiking up a mountain and here comes this thunderstorm. What are you going to do? Are you going to head miles back down to the tree line, or are you going to make it over that mountain? It really depends on what your physical level is. I highly encourage anyone and everyone that wants to go into the outdoors to take care of themselves. Eat good, work out, move their bodies, Anyways, that is what I do. Hold on, there was a question about urban exploration, and yes, I do like that. You really have to be careful not to break any laws, and that's very important. Here in the country, they don't take trespassing very lightly, and you can get in a ton of trouble if you're not careful. How to survive in an urban jungle? I have no idea. Get out. Now, of course, you don't have to take my advice because I'm a country boy. How do you prevent from getting blisters on your feet after a long hike? The best care that you can give your feet is to be proactive. Do not allow those blisters to form. You know, if you feel a hot spot, if there's something in your shoe, you can feel when your foot is about to form a blister. You'll start sensing that pain, a little bit of discomfort, the heat. Address it. Every foot is going to be different, and the reasons why they're forming blisters is going to be different. So you have to really pay attention to like what your needs are. Some people, their toes are simply too close together and they need to tape them so that blisters don't form. I actually have that problem on my right foot, not so much on my left for some reason, but I have to tape my toes on my right foot for long distance hiking to prevent blisters. I mean, it's just a characteristic with me. Like I said, everybody's different. Now, what tent would I recommend for 60 bucks? $60. Without being at the computer, I can't quite tell you without seeing what the prices are. Alps Mountaineering is very good. Teton Sports does make a good tent. Let's see here. Kelty makes very good tents that are very budget friendly. The North Face now has a line of budget friendly items, including a tent. I don't think it's 60 bucks. It might be like 100 and something, but you know, when it comes to backpacking gear, save up your money and get something good. You don't have to run out and spend 60 bucks because that's what you have. You can save up, and that is what I recommend. Even if you have to buy used, it is better to get that good piece of gear that you can use for a long time that won't fail you than to buy a tent for 60 bucks and it's a piece of and it fails on you when you're out on the trail, or you're on the trail and it's like pouring the rain and rain's coming inside. You don't want that. So if you have to, save your money. Have you ever dealt with ticks? Plenty of them, and I have videos on that, on how to take care of yourself, how to deal with them. Rick loves the channel. What state is Lone Wolf Mountain in? That is North Carolina, buddy. When are you coming to Canada? John wants to know. Hopefully soon. Our plan was to do it this year. I do not know if that's going to happen. We are 100% heading to Colorado to hike the Four Pass Loop. It might be late August when we get there because snow, avalanche damage, and all that stuff. Part 8. Wow. This person was excited for the questions and answers. Sorry I'm late. Oops. Dave on holiday from New Zealand. How's it going, man? When are you going to shoot one of your lone wolf deer? Probably not anytime soon. I used to do quite a bit of hunting, but not recently. Just no time, and I love all the animals here at Lone Wolf Mountain. It's somewhat of a sanctuary. I mean, the other day I saw a bear cub coming up the road, and the day after that, back out here for some filming, I saw some turkeys and some babies, and of course the deer. Yeah, this place is a paradise. Matthew says, when was the first time that you went hiking and camping? I've been doing it since I was a kid, man. Dave, new subscriber 3 years ago. Sorry, Dave. Biggie Billy Bobby Bob wants to know, what do I do about cleaning utensils and other cooking equipment on multi-day trips? Well, for one thing, you have to be careful about what you cook. If you cook some sort of cheesy thing inside of your pot that's going to gunk it up, you will have a problem. So you either have to plan ahead and bring some sort of cleaning utensils and whatnot, maybe some soap, some camp soap that you can actually use, that's safe to use for the environment, or you plan for easier meals. That's what I tend to do. When I get done eating, I just wipe out the pot really, really good. I can use a paper towel, then I can burn that. The same goes for the utensils. I wipe everything up. Everything that I ate with and ate out of goes into my bear bag. I string that up if I'm in an area that requires it. Black Timber wants to know, are we witnessing the end of civilization as we know it? That was 3 years ago. No, civilization's gonna go on. There's no real reason why it has to end anytime soon. Even if there was a nuclear war, life will go on. Life will find a way, right? Isn't that from Jurassic Park? I think so. As far as the world goes, there are a handful of problems that are very, very major. First off, population. Population's a huge problem, especially when you think about the amount of resources that are being consumed. Water, food, the minerals out of the ground, using petroleum to make plastic and all of that stuff. And it's one of those things where like there is no good solution for these problems. And I'm glad I'm not the person who has to try to solve these things because I don't know how you can. We've gone past the point where you can stop using petroleum. Petroleum goes into every single aspect of your life. and there's no end in sight. Anyways, that's a pretty deep subject, so I will get off of that one. Moving on. Potheads wants to know, what do I do with my old gear when I get new gear? It really depends. If I like it, I keep it. If I'm just ready to get rid of it, I usually do a giveaway, or I try to sell it. Now, unfortunately, I don't really have enough time to sell things like I would want to. I have a ton of stuff that I have good intentions for to offering to you all, and maybe I will get around to that soon. Hopefully so. Griffin wants to know, for summertime camping, how much clothing do I carry with me? Very little. Always a change of socks, usually some sort of insulation layer, like a very light sweater, rain jacket, and generally that's about it, depending on the sort of trip that I'm going on. If it's going to be a super wet trip, I will have some very lightweight shorts that I could put on just in case like I get soaking wet. Luke, are you going to use the Arc Blast again from Z-Packs? And yes, I am. That is one of my favorite packs. It is fantastic. It is well worth the money. Let's see, any chance on having more Z-Packs gear coming up? Yes, absolutely. I have a tent coming with a freestanding pole system. It is pretty sweet. That's from Z-Packs coming up. What is your favorite military surplus pack? That comes from Derek. Right now, it is the Force Protector Gear MAR pack. I reviewed this back in 2015, I think. It is an amazing pack. It's one of my favorites. Hard to find used. You can find it sometimes, but it's a good size pack. Has a built-in pad, so you can sleep on that if you want to. I mean, it's pretty thin, but it counts. So this will be the last question, and it's a very important one. G-Nut 1069 wants to know, why Taster's nasty coffee? Folgers is really good. Instant is terrible. It's simple. It's nice and easy, and I'm a guy who just likes it very simple. It doesn't have to be super great for me to have a good time. For myself, it's all about the environment, my experiences, and less to do with what I'm eating, what I'm drinking out on the trail. That's why I like it. And also I call it Taster's Nasty. That's pretty funny. So for the question and answers, that is it. That pretty much wraps it up. If you all have a question for me to answer, I will have a question submission video coming up soon. So pay attention to that video and I'll instruct you on how to submit your questions. Everyone, take care, strength and honor.